Hello, friends, and welcome to the Chorus Quilts YouTube channel, and welcome to our very first studio vlog. If we haven't met before, my name is Shelly Kavana. I'm a quilt pattern and textile designer, and I write quilting books like the Barnstar Sampler and the Flower Farm Sampler. We have been wanting to do a studio vlog here on the Chorus Quilts YouTube channel for years now. And so I'm very excited to share that for the first time ever, we are in a brand new studio, and I would love to take you along for the ride as we put our workspace and our design space together. All right, friends, here we are. I'm so excited to introduce you to the new Chorus Quilts headquarters. This is such a big open space, and I'm so excited to be able to move my filming setup and my sewing and cutting and kit preparation stations here. I'm excited that we have our own room that we're going to be able to use for inventory, and also a nice quiet room where I'm also going to be able to do my writing and designing, which is super exciting. So when you enter the studio, there is a big open space and lots of great lighting. And so I am on the fence about what we're going to be doing and how we're going to be laying out. But in my head, I think that we're going to have our sewing machine station set up here with a big design wall on that back wall, or maybe here. This is a really good sized wall too. So maybe we will have the design wall over there. And then we're going to have some really lovely bookcases and cabinets to kind of show off some of our favorite sewing supplies here against this wall. And my vision is to have a big cutting table kind of floating here in the center of the room. So we have a cute little area for our kitchenette, and we'll be moving in some little things to make this feel a little bit like home. Oops, and you can hear the train coming through town, which I kind of love. Oops, right outside the window, you can see it. This room is going to be our inventory room and the room where we pack orders. So it's got a nice little window and a lot of good space for storage racks. We'll have to do some calculations to figure out if we can repurpose the racks that we have now, or if we need to come up with a new storage solution. But the thing that I love most is that it's got these doors that close all the way, so that when we're working or filming and we kind of just want to have our inventory hidden out of sight, that it's back behind those doors. But that also means that we can really minimize any dust that comes into this room as well. And then this nook here is going to be my little office room. Again, fun to see the train setting, passing out outside. So one of the things that I haven't quite figured out yet is how I want to lay my desk out. So I am not really great at space planning or doing anything like that. So it'll be interesting kind of with this almost L-shaped room here, how we want to lay things out. So stay tuned and we will show you the progress as we start to move in our gear. All right, it is the end of day one, and we got a bit accomplished today, which I'm really happy about. We were able to bring over 2 loads of furniture and supplies from home today. I am trying to reuse as much of the furniture that I've used in my previous studios and setups and workspaces as possible, just to try and recycle and reuse what I have on hand before I buy new furniture. That's not to say that I'm not going to buy new furniture. I absolutely am. But I put these tables together, and I'm just kind of playing around with the office space here. This is going to be the room where I keep my desk and I do my writing and administrative work. And I thought in my head, for some reason, that I was going to want to do some sort of an L-shaped desk here in the corner. I'm used to having really small workspaces, and so most of the time in all of my other office setup spaces, I have had some sort of a corner desk up against the walls. So I'm not loving this setup. I don't like it. So this is not going to be the permanent solution, but I'm glad I put the pieces together just to kind of take a peek at how it is. I might play around with putting the larger, wider desk here floating in the middle of the wall, or here on the wall with maybe some bookcases. And then I found at IKEA a bookcase and cupboard that I really like that will most likely go right over against this little wall and give me a nice little backdrop. And then I have my stitching chair that I like to sit and do my hand sewing and my cross stitching in. In my mind, that chair is going to go here in the corner with a little lamp if I need to do some handwork, possibly, and then maybe some bookcases here along this wall. Like I said, I'm not really having a good vision for what I'm going to do in this space yet, but this is just kind of the first brainstorm idea, and it's definitely not an aha, I nailed it moment. So if you have any ideas of how you would arrange this office if you were me, leave me a comment in the comments below and tell me how you would set this up. I have not moved hardly any of my inventory over, just a few of these boxes that we had over at the house. So there is a lot that's going to be going into this inventory. This is essentially our warehouse. So I'm not quite sure how I'm going to set it up yet. The shelves that I already have in our warehouse unit now will kind of fit up against this sidewall here. It's not a great fit, but it will certainly work. I don't think it's the most effective use of space, but we definitely might be able to make it work here. In addition to all of our inventory, this room is also going to house the computer that we use for shipping orders, along with the scales and all of the label printers that we have. And I'm hoping along this sidewall here that we might be able to rig up some sort of bookshelves or something that could house our printers, because we'll have 2 printers in shop that are pretty hefty. They have a pretty big footprint. So I'm not sure if I like this setup here against the window. It is almost 6 o'clock in the evening, so there is a little bit of light that's coming in through, and that might make this corner pretty hot in the afternoons here. So I'm not sure if this is how we're gonna leave things, but because I actually have quite a few orders to catch up on tomorrow, I think this is where I'm gonna temporarily at least set up my shipping station, because this existing table, this is the table that I took from the L shape that I had experimented with in my office. This table actually fits really nicely here in this nook. So before I had the keys here to our studio space and hadn't had a chance to measure or anything, as I was kind of playing in my mind with where everything would live, this corner over here was where I originally thought maybe I would have my shipping station, so that it would be really easy to walk here into our inventory room, grab what I need, maybe on a cart or something, and then be able to print all of my labels here. And then somewhere floating in the middle of this room here, I'm thinking about putting a supersized cutting table, one that's about twice as big as the one that's there. And so it would be a really easy thing, especially when I'm putting together and mailing like our block of the month programs where we have 75 or 100 kits going out in one day. It would be a really easy thing to move them here from our inventory room to print everything here at this mini shipping station, and then package everything as necessary over here on the cutting table. So that's kind of the second option. In a perfect world, I would really love for the warehouse room to house everything that is related to shipping our orders. So all of the fabric, all of the bolts, all of our backstock and patterns. So in a perfect world, I would love for it to all fit in here. I think that that might be slightly unrealistic, but we'll just kind of have to see as we start this weekend bringing in all of our storage racks, see how we can get that filled. So one of the things that I had thought about too for this room was to kind of have a shipping station here in the corner where we've got the computer set up here, and then on these walls here in the corner to have our racks full of our bolts and storage. And this door opening is a set of double doors, but they're really skinny double doors. So if we always left this one at a right angle, then we could actually fit one of our big racks here behind the door as well. And then, the thought of maybe having like a small island or cart or table or something here in the middle of the room if we needed an extra surface in here. So those are the thoughts for the shipping station. And I think that we're going to need to get the rest of the furniture and all of the stock moved in before we can really make a decision as far as that's concerned. Okay, the last thing that I was able to bring over today is my cutting table. And I have had this cutting table for probably the better part of 12 or 13 years. It is a Jimmy rigged IKEA hack cutting table. The bottom part of the table are these 2x4 is a 2x4 calyx unit. This one happens to have a bunch of drawers and sliders in for drawers and like one of the paper file inserts. But I haven't put that in yet because I'm not sure how I want these shelves to function yet. And I don't know exactly where this table is going to live permanently either. So I'm trying to save myself a little bit of work before putting everything in and then having to take it out to move it. So it's basically, like I said, the bottom part is a 2x4 calyx unit from IKEA. And then we actually custom mounted these, are supposed to be stands for the bottom of the calyx unit, but we mounted them to the top of one of the, I believe it was a Linman desktop. I'm A, probably not saying that right, and B, possibly misremembering because I believe that this piece isn't sold or it goes by a different name now. But I really love this because it's about 78 inches long, this tabletop, and it perfectly for years and years and years has fit my 70 by 23 inch Olfa cutting mat, which I love. And I've had many of these and put so many miles on walking back and forth and cutting yardage out for kits and stuff. And the one thing that I've always hated about this cutting mat is that the 1 yard line hits right here, kind of where the brackets are. So it's impossible to cut because your rotary ruler lines up and hits the brackets. And so unfortunately, it's really difficult to cut on this mat. Instead, it's a lot easier to line up the edge of your fabric with the 10-yard line and then cut at the 46. You can see how worn it is there to get a true yard cut. So it was always my intention. I'm so hard on my mats. These have seen thousands upon thousands upon thousands of cuts every single year. And so it's about time for me to get a new one. And so I went online to order, and I found out that they actually don't make these mats anymore, which is a huge bummer. They do have one that they've replaced it with, and I believe it's also a 70-inch wide mat. But it is, instead of these two mats that are kind of side by side horizontally, it's 3 mats. The new version is 3 mats that go side by side vertically so that you can cut all the way, I think it's like 30 inches or 36. Don't quote me, I don't remember, and my brain is very tired today. But the point is, the new mat, the replacement mat, goes way beyond the edge of my tabletop there. And so I have an idea that I kind of hobbled together for a new IKEA hack that is going to allow me to essentially put two of these cutting tables back to back. And then this table over here, you can't tell because they're low, but this has adjustable legs. And so the idea is that we're going to kind of put two of these cutting tables back to back so that I'll have plenty of surface space to cut as I need and have the mat go almost the full width of the table. And then we'll put this little guy at the very end, perpendicular to the two tables, so that I can cut 2 full yards at a time on a cutting mat continuously without having to only do 1 yard at a time. So 2 yards at once, and then be able to roll the bolt all the way off the mat and not have it kind of hanging off the edge. So I'm excited about that. In my head, it works. My husband's a little skeptical. I am a little skeptical too. It's very possible that we might just need to get a big piece of butcher block to have a continuous piece rather than 2 of these tabletops with a seam down the center. But I already have 2 of these tabletops that are available for use for this project. So tomorrow when I get in the office here, I am going to assemble the other half of this table, and I'll give you kind of a closer look at how we do that then. But fingers crossed that the idea that seems genius in my head is actually going to work. We'll see you tomorrow. Good morning. Welcome back to the studio move-in saga. Today is move-in day number 3. We didn't get much done yesterday because I had a lot of admin work to do, and so I kind of focused mainly on getting caught up so that we could spend the day packing orders today and getting some furniture put together. So I did this morning put together the little 2x2, or excuse me, the 2x1 rather, calyx units to go here on my cutting table. And initially I had planned, okay, I couldn't do that one-handed and still hold the camera. Initially, I had planned with these 2x1 units to put them so that they were facing the back wall here, which is going to be our bookshelf and backdrops. Initially, I had planned to have these facing out so that I could get a nice tall stool, not one that's dusty from my garage, but a stool, and kind of have a desk area to sit. So that way when I was working or cutting or needing some space to spread out, that I would have this nice big space to work with. So I went ahead and put these together, and then I realized before I assembled the remaining tabletop, I realized that the only way 2 tabletops are going to fit across this unit is if we take and have the unit like almost very much to the edge, if not hanging off the edge of the base unit by quite a lot. And what that would do would allow the seam to kind of sit right in the center of the table and not allow for any space underneath. And now that I've put it all together, I've realized that that is kind of a recipe for disaster, because all somebody has to do is come along and kind of lean on this and the whole thing's gonna fall over, which is not what we want to happen at all. And because we're trying to use as much furniture that I already have in stock already, I remember that I actually have a second one of these 4x2 calyx units at home. And so what I'm actually thinking that I'm gonna do is pivot these 2x1 units so that they face outwards and possibly remove that center shelf so that if I need to, I can put some sort of like larger shipping boxes there. And then I'm going to bring my second 4x2 studio piece in and put it across. So what that does is it doesn't eliminate my ability to sit in this spot, but it also allows me to put a second unit here, and then this top piece, when we put a second one side by side, it is actually the perfect width for 3 of these units underneath. I know I'm probably not making a whole lot of sense because my brain is so tired, but when we get the extra unit here over the weekend, we'll be able to play around with that. And then that will give me a nice big standing table only, which will be really great. I have been thinking some more, and I do think that this is the corner where I am going to put my sewing table and my pressing table. I found some really good ideas for how I want to have that organized. And because when I'm filming, I need kind of a solid background for any shots that I have, I do think that I most likely am going to put one table with either the sewing machine or my pressing area against the wall, and we'll have the other table come out as an angle so that I can sit and sew, and it's a real easy matter of just kind of pivoting to the left or right. Every time I hear that, I think of the Friends pivot. Sorry, squirrel brain. The L-shaped desks are so that I can kind of just pivot as I'm sewing between the pressing station and the sewing machine. So I do kind of have my heart set on a big design wall here. I had a design wall 12 or 14 years ago when we had the space in our home before we had the kids. And since then, I have been doing everything digitally or having to lay things out on the floor temporarily. And so I'm kind of excited at the prospect of possibly doing some sort of a design wall or design feature here as well. So thanks to our time away from the studio and our summer break, this is about as much organizing as I'm going to get done today, but I am going to pack some orders, and we'll see you tomorrow with the progress that I make. Just kidding. It is still day 3. I forgot that I wanted to mention that yesterday I had a bunch of admin work to do. So I set up a temporary desk here and brought in my monitor and my laptop and did a little bit of writing and editing and boring accounting and admin stuff. And this room is just very oddly proportioned, and I'm having trouble fitting in as many pieces of furniture as I did in my mind. So originally I had planned for maybe a desk at the back wall, or keeping this desk here in the corner and putting some sort of like a nice hutch over here in the corner. And then here in the corner, I had pictured putting some sort of like an armchair and a side table so I could do some hand stitching, and another console over here. So I have to say that having worked over here with my face in the corner all day yesterday, I absolutely hated it. And so I'm not quite sure that this is going to stay as it is. I was talking with some friends about it, and they suggested moving the desk and floating it in the middle of the wall, or even floating it in the middle of the room. And I don't know. I need to not be looking at the wall, or the wall needs to be prettier, but I think I may have to be resigned to the fact that there is more furniture in my brain than this room can actually hold. So I'm still thinking about this, still working with the IKEA room builder to see if there's anything we can do. But I do definitely know that I kind of hate sitting in this corner. So we'll see how things pan out. But for now, we're going off to pack some orders. All right, my amazing hubby hauled a bunch of stuff over from the house after work today. And I have to say, I am super excited about the possibility of this work table. So just to get the legs on, I kind of just mimicked where the lines were drawn before. And I'm going to go ahead and get the tabletop legs put on before I leave today so that I have a nice big space to work on tomorrow. I am on the fence about whether we need a support leg in the middle of the table since there's a big old hole and nothing's under there, but we'll kind of see how things go as we get things put together. And I do have some brackets coming that should help give the table a little bit of extra stability, and we might think about putting some extra supports here in the middle of the table, although this table has lasted probably a good 10 years with loads and loads of cutting done on it and loads of weight without needing it. So might just be kind of a play it by ear and see if we need it kind of situation. And 30 seconds later, the joke is on me. I bought these Capita table legs, which is what we used here the first time we put this table together. I bought them literally like 10 or 11 years ago when we first made this table. And hysterically, I have bought 2 different heights. So it's either a trip to IKEA this weekend or a online order. We'll see what can get here faster. And foiled once again. This table is going to be amazing, but oh my gosh, the amount of work it is taking to get it done. So I think for today, I'm going to call it quits and head home and start fresh again in the morning. Hi guys, it's Editing Shelly here, and we were just putting the finishing touches on the studio vlog when we got a super exciting delivery, and I just can't wait to show you and don't want to wait till next week. So let's take a look at my brand new fabric collection with Benartex. It is hitting shops as we speak, which is so very exciting. This fabric collection is called Among the Wildflowers, Volume 1, and it's kind of a departure from a lot of the fabric collections that I've put together in recent years because it has kind of a monochromatic feel to it, meaning instead of having 2 color stories, like some of our previous fabric collections, like here I'm grabbing, this is our Secret Garden fabric collection, and you can see that in this fabric collection we kind of have 2 distinct color families, the blues and greens and kind of these plums and berry colors here. And so this Among the Wildflower fabric collection is a little bit different for us because it's just using a single color story. So I'm so excited to give you the first peek at these amazing prints. This is our main print here called Among the Wildflowers. And we have 2 lovely colorways, kind of this softer colorway that features a lot of the lighter tones, these gorgeous coral colors and that buttery yellow that I love so much. And then we have a nice bold tone that focuses more on that gorgeous raspberry color. So this is the main print that we've got in the fabric collection. The backing fabric that coordinates is coming a little later this month, but we went ahead and designed a 108-inch wide backing fabric to go with this as well. And so the fabric for the size of the blooms, rather, for the backing fabric, the blooms are like twice as big. So it's an amazing 108-inch wide backing fabric that is coming soon. And then, so here's our main print. And then we have a couple of floral prints. We have this really lovely kind of yellow floral, and it comes along in our kind of raspberry color and that gorgeous coral color as well. And then the other 2 prints that we really love are these kind of smaller scale florals that come in kind of the light and dark berry tones. And so this is really it for the main prints in the collection. But you know me, you know I love my textural prints, you know I love my blender prints. And so we've got, this is one of my favorite prints that we've done in a long time. This is Paper Whites, so we have it in a really delicate coral color. Here it is in the green. And here it is again in that raspberry color. We've got this fun monochromatic, so a print based kind of just on one color version called Sketchbook, and you can see those play really lovely together. And then we've got this other really fun and light and airy print called Tin Lantern. And again, that comes in the green and that coral pink and the butter yellow. And then the final blender print, again, a new favorite, is this lovely print we call Meadow Sweet. And you can tell it was my favorite blender because we got it not only in this lovely array of colors, but we've also got this really gorgeous tone on tone that we're using for all the backgrounds of our quilts for this collection, the project as well. Oops. This one was hiding underneath. So you can see that we've got this really lovely berry colored story with tons of prints. My favorite thing about fabric collections like this one is that we've given you a full variety of tones to work with. So you can create a really lovely quilt, and the green that you use in one print is not completely different, but is noticeably different than the greens used in the prints elsewhere in the collection. Sorry, my brain is tired today. And so it gives you this really lovely kind of monochromatic, kind of almost like an ombre feeling, you can see. And it gives your quilts that use these prints a lot of visual interest because you're not using the same exact print color. You're kind of using stair-step print colors, which I love. It just adds such a beautiful dimension to your quilt projects, and it adds so much visual interest without having to go and find a whole bunch of fabrics that play well together but that are a little bit different. So just for fun, kind of showing you the color ranges here. I don't know if the camera is picking these up, but these are just, oh, so gorgeous in person. And you can see we did the yellows as well. 2 yellows in a collection, which is rare for me. And then here's kind of the stair step for those prints. And so they all work really, really well together. And then of course you have the variety of your more floral prints that you can mix and match in your quilt tops just to add a little bit of pizzazz. But I'm so proud of this collection. I think the colors are just amazingly gorgeous and they play so well together, and I am so excited to start sharing some of the projects that we've put together and show you some of the ideas I have for how you can use these projects in your own work. So if you're looking to order these, we have the fat quarters and we have fabric by the yard here in the shop, and the 108-inch wide backing fabric is coming in a few weeks, and we've left the link in the description box below if you want to order these fabrics. So thank you for joining me today in our very first studio vlog. I'm so excited to show you what we've done to the studio in the coming weeks, and I hope that you, if you're enjoying this video, that you will subscribe to the channel and like this video, and we'll see you in a few weeks with another exciting studio update. Happy sewing! Thanks so much for watching our studio vlog series. To see more of our quilting adventures, you can find us on Instagram as Cora's Quilts. Don't forget to stop by our website and sign up for our emailed newsletter to hear all about the happenings in our studio. We'll send you 2 free quilt patterns to say thanks for signing up. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you soon with another studio vlog.